Kia ora and welcome back. This tutorial we're going to add a little slice on two of the walls. So if we just check out that image, so we can see here there's a cut, I guess, into each of the walls. So let's go to Photoshop and see if we can see that. So we can see that in this view and also in the elevation, so we can see these cuts coming through. What we're going to do is we're going to create some new points in the center of that wall. So we're going to figure out where the center is and do it parametrically. So once we change that, this width here or the wall thickness, then this automatically will update and locate the center. And then we can cut a box into there. So let's get back to Rhino and Grasshopper. So what we need to do is move 0.2 over and lift it up. So we need to move it over and then lift it up to the top. So we need to figure out that distance. Let's just jump into here. So how can we do that? We know this width, so we need to move 0.2. So 0.2. So let's move that. Let's bring this up over here. Let's create some space in here. So if you want, you can make some more space, but we'll just come in over here, I think. Let's do this. So we want to move, and we want to move 0.2. So bring 0.2 up to there, and then we want to move it across that way. So it needs to be in the X direction. So we can type in X. So use that as a vector. So we've got that. Now we need to figure out the distance. So we need to take the overall wall width and then subtract the thickness of the walls. So we've sort of got some of that. So we can do a subtraction first. So double click and then just push the minus, and that gives us subtraction. So we need to do the X. So we're working in the X plane. Start with that, and then we need to subtract the wall thickness, but twice. So we've got the wall thickness, and then we've got that multiplied twice there. So, and if we just mouse over the result, we can see that one locally defined value, which is telling us what is. So we've 450 times 2 is 900. So that becomes quite useful. So we can do that. So now we've got this inside wall length. We need to find the middle of that. And so we can do that by the division. So we can just divide it by 2, which becomes quite easy. So just put in that symbol in the division. So we can take our result of that. So we've got the inside wall and then just divide it by 2. So we can right click on there, set data value, and type 2, and then commit. And then that now gives us that direction. So we can see here we've got now 0.8. So let's just bring this all over a bit, and then we can keep it kind of neat or contained. So yeah, just do that. So now we need to lift that up. So we've got it in the center, and it's a good idea just to check that. So if we change the width, we can see that that's following in the center, so that's working. So that sort of parametric nature of it is, let's type in here, 6,000. Okay, So we're back to where we were. Now, if we just select that point, we're in the center, but we can see we're at floor level. We need to raise it up to the top. So we need to move this one again, so we can go move. So move this geometry, and we've got that here because we have to sort of get to that top. We've used that in a few places. So it's this height here, which is the wall height minus the floor thickness. So we've got that there, and we've even got the Z direction. So what we can do is we can right click on there. We can actually, let's double click. No, right click there. We can change that to interior wall height Z vector or Z vector. Oh, that doesn't change, but anyway, because I've got it drawn in that. But if we mouse over, it's got that, so we can remember. So we can bring this directly up into the motion, and then if we select that, we can see we're up at the top. Now we want to draw another rectangle, and because we're already in the center, we can use a different shape to do that. So if we go back to surface, primitive, it's got, where are we, center box. So we can use that as the base, so that point that we just created, we can use that as the base, and then we need some sizes. So we can just zoom out, and then let's add some sizes. We've got to figure out what those sizes are. So let's see, back in Photoshop, we need to measure a couple of things. So let's zoom in here. Oh. So I for the ruler, there, and then let's use caps lock, and that puts on the crosshairs, click and shift to get it over to the other side, and that's roughly 270 millimeters, say, maybe 250, round it down. And then we need to do another one from the top. Hold down shift. Oh, I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, down to there, and that is 2100, so 2.1 meters roughly. So, but that is also going down. Let's see what we can do here. Come back here. So I'll call it, oh, that one. One was let's start at 250, just sort of round it down. So let's call that cut width, and then another one, so that was 2100, and we can call that cut depth. But what we're going to do is we're going to change some things. So we're going to make it negative. So here we've just made that a negative number. So hopefully when we adjust that, And then if we bring that back down, let's see. 2100. It hasn't quite done that right. Let's go back into here. No, click on there. So minimum, make that 0. And then that minus, and the max, make that 10,000. Oh, what's going on? That's not working. Let's just have another go. So you can see when you're working in things like Grasshopper, there's sometimes some, especially when you're learning, some adjusting and figuring out that may not go how you think. So let's rearrange this. So let's make that 10,000 and make this minus 10,000. So that gives us a minus value and a plus value. And then we can go okay. Oh, and we'll set this to minus 2100. Now let's try that. Select OK. So that's looking better. So now we're actually getting a minus number coming out of the slider. We also, so we've got the cut width in X, I guess, the depth in Z. We just need the sort of other width, I guess, so the Y. So let's just edit that and make that X. And then start to move that. So we've got this, rename this to Y and set that to a bit wider. So let's set this to 4,000 maybe. And then we'll leave that there for now. So we've got X, Y, and then we'll just make this Z as well, just so it's easier to know what's going on. Let's bring this across. So I've got this, I'll bring that down. So we've got all of these dimensions now that we can just bring over. So we've got X, Y, and Z, which we're doing as a negative, so we don't need to change that as such. So back in here. So you can see we've got this little cut now. It does look a bit big, so we may need to sort of do half. So if the cut width is there, let's just sort of bring it down. Yeah. So what we need to do is divide that in two, I think, and then we need that wider. And let's come into here and see it's sitting well. So that's working the way that we envisioned. And I've got it going higher because if we put a roof on this, we can cut into that as well if we want. So it just gives a bit of an indication. So we actually need to do this one and divide it by 2, don't we? So let's do it up in here. Bring that up. So divide, and then we can right click on that, set data point, and just go 2. So come back over here. So cut X, bring that up. there, and then now feed that into X, and I can't remember what we measured now. Let's just go back and double check. So there, so it was, yeah, around that 250. So back to Rhino. So cut width 250, and that's looking better. And then we've got that in place now. So there, and we've got that whole box, so we can just do another intersect action. Come on, so solid difference, bring that down. So we've got this box, the main one, so that minus that little bit, and then we can't see it as such, so what we need to do is remember to end the preview for that. Ooh, I think I turned it off. What's going on? Oh, I know. And we also need to say, let's turn the preview off for that, and turn the preview off for that. And then if we get the right view, we can sort of see, ooh, it's starting to freak out, but we can start to see that cut that we've made in there, so that's a bit easier in that view. And we can also turn some of these other bits off because we don't need them as such. So we're getting into that, so we can now clean this up. I'll just pause and then clean this up and come back. So now we're going to do the same on the second box. As we've figured out a number of the distances already, we can basically use some of that information. Let's check what we're doing. So come back to okay, 100 there. So basically we want to go move number 4 over and then up to get to 0.9. Right, so number 0.4, now we've got to find where I've put that. So you can see the value in naming things. So there's 0.4, so we need to move. So if we go move, and the geometry, let's go up there. So 0.4 geometry, and then we need the motion. Because we're sort of going in the left way, so we need to make that negative. So we can pipe that in, bring that up, and then we've got all that, and we need a direction. Well, we don't need that, we can pull that direction, so we can pull it all from there and into there. And let's just double check. So if we select that, back, yes, so we've got that in the right place. Now we just need to move it up in the Z direction again. So we've got a lot of that information that we can just pull from up here. So we need to move again. So that geometry, and then we've got that division, the width in half up there, so we can just pull that straight down. Oh, what's going on? What have I done? Ah, that's the wrong one. So let's just go back. Ah, it's this one here. So pull that into motion, and that's up. There we go, that's better. We'll probably use this one once we create the base. So let's just double check that that's right. We can turn this one off. Okay, so now we're in the right place, and now we just need to do another cube in there. Come back. So let's just copy that. And V. So the base is going to be different, and hopefully that will be it. What's going on? Is it not showing up? That's right. Change the base. I've closed it, that's why, so we've got to turn the preview on. So yeah, that makes sense. So that has worked perfectly. So let's then do a solid difference. Right, so this one. And then come into here and bring, so that actually needs to go into B, and then we need that one up into A, and then we can turn that off, turn the preview off, and then we've got it. So now we've got the two boxes with a cut. So just come over here. So now if we change the width or the height, you can see that adjusts, and then now if we change the width, those cuts change automatically, and we can even change the width of those, so make them thicker if we want. So that allows us to update all those. So in the next tutorial we'll add this doorway between the two and see how we go there.